1970, we sure we did the forefront. Knowledge for selfish, for sure we did the work. Auditorium to basement of all faculty of law. We did represent, stand tall anywhere we go. Work hard and we shine, commitment, dedication. Neurosurgery, comedy, music, Nollywood. SOTK, Dr. Call, MC Casino. We did represent, stand tall anywhere we go. Great UNIBEN, great UNIBEN, great UNIBEN, great UNIBEN. Hello viewers, welcome to another episode of the UNIBEN Alumni Series. As you know, this is a show where we discuss with alumni of University of Benin, men and women that are doing great things in their different endeavors. I'm your host, Kevin Omokao, and on today's episode, I have a medical doctor and also a storyteller. Science, creative, okay, and she's Dr. Omonigho Iyomon. Thank you very much, Dr. Omonigho. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here.
Good to have you. And I've been seeing your works, and it's getting quite common with medical doctors. They are getting creative, or they are exploring that other part of them. I've had a guest on the show who's a filmmaker, who's a medical doctor too, Dr. Iyomon. I don't know if you know him. Yeah, he makes films and he's good at both fields. I said, okay, that's good. That's good. Okay, let's start from when I got your profile. I saw something that got my attention when you mentioned you talked about pressure, you talked about identity, emotional chaos behind the white coats. I really want to get into your head. What was all that about? And especially as young doctors in Nigeria, what are those things that you people, I'm talking about young doctors now, that people go through and you think we, your patients or Nigerians generally, we do not see, but you think we should see it or we should understand them?
All right. So first of all, I was not trying to be I was not trying to be hyperbolic. What I said was real. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of pressure in medicine. So what I think that everybody else outside of doctors do not see is the fact that being a doctor in the first place is very intense. But being a Nigerian doctor, it means you're a victim. It's very honest. Yes. We all know that Nigeria affects almost every sector. In fact, every single sector is affected by the Nigerianness, economy, or education, healthcare. So many people do not see beyond the healthcare workers. We are the pawns, we are the foot soldiers who get to make do with what we have. The how do I put it now? The onus is not on the healthcare workers to do some of the things that are expected of them. People are not satisfied with Nigeria's healthcare system. People are not satisfied with the fact that when they seek healthcare, they don't get it in good time, or that some things are not available, or even if they're available, they can't afford them, right? And it's not a fault. You see people come into the hospital, and especially in government hospitals, it could be different with private practice, but like in public hospitals, you see people come into the hospitals, they are angry that there's no blood for transfusion. They're angry that you ask them to go and get some supplies from outside of the hospitals. They try to pounce on the doctors. These are doctors that are overworked, underpaid. They're even heartbroken seeing you the way you are. But more often than not, people don't see that way. They're just angry with the doctors. And there's so many people in the organogram of healthcare. There's administration, there's the doctor, there's the nurse, there's the physiotherapist, there's the pharmacist and whatnot. Even people who are responsible for engineering to fix the electric bulb in the hospital, they are there. But once something is wrong,
Mm.
Everybody's angry with the doctor.
You doctor, yes,
You
yeah.
see,
No,
there's that
uh,
pressure.
yeah, I understand that part, and especially because you doctors are the face of healthcare, with
Yes, pretty
respect
much
to
so.
other professions in healthcare as well. But you
Yes.
people are the face, so it is just and with exposure, especially in our society where there's not too much of that, so they do not know that there are other professions involved in this. There is a collaborative venture, and we do not blame them too much. Yes, but we
Yes,
also understand.
with time, I realized that it's actually as a result of exposure and what we are being portrayed as. So that's why I think that doctors have to be more expressive so that
Mm,
people get to know these things.
mm,
And some people really come around and understand with you and know that, okay, this is how
okay.
it goes.
Okay, let's talk about still on the doctors, your podcast, which I think this experience is led to you having your podcast and the name, especially Moving Mad in Medicine. When I saw that, I said that's quite bold and audacious to have such a name. Yeah. So why that name? And also, can you let us know some of the, well, let's say, vulnerable conversations you have had on the show, maybe from your colleagues? What situation have they narrated to you that you felt, as they say, Nigeria is not a real place?
Okay, so with the name was very spontaneous. First and foremost, I've always wanted people to know what's going on in medicine, right from when I was in med school. I remember
Hmm,
I used to tell my roommates then, like almost every other week, because whenever we come back from school, we're usually in different postings. I'll start telling her, see what happened today. One woman did this today, this what happened. So I always tell her, I should start a podcast. People have to hear these things. And we just laugh about it and we move on. So when I started practicing medicine itself, it was times 10 of whatever I thought I was seeing as a medical student. I mean, it's use the word, it was crazy. So there was a particular day, something happened. I can't even remember what, because significant things happen every day. You're emotionally fatigued. So I was narrating it to someone. I was like, she was just moving mad. In fact, I'm going to start this podcast. People are moving mad in medicine. And that was how I wrote it down on my notes
oh,
app. Moving mad in medicine. And I left it there for a couple of weeks. I did that because it's all encompassing. If you say moving mad in medicine, people find it funny, people find it chaotic, and really, medicine is chaotic. And it covers both the clinical practice, if you are in clinical practice, it covers you stepping out of clinical medicine to maybe working in other industries or other sectors as a doctor. Like you said, there is I know some doctors who are comedians. I know doctors who are filmmakers, who are photographers. Just do something as crazy, even though you are in medicine. So I felt like that topic, that title was going to cover everything because medicine is very chaotic. So that was how I stayed with the name as well. And then for the experiences, I think that I've not even scratched we've not even scratched the surface as regards the experiences in medicine. Yes, I think for so far, the episodes that did best, the episodes that had lots of feedback and lots of shares, where I think two particularly. One was where we talked about love in medicine. Seems like everybody's interested in the love life of doctors. People have lots of myths about doctors, dating a doctor, being married to a doctor and whatnot. That did a lot of did numbers.
but,
And then
but
yeah,
that's correct, because yeah, and naturally you spend more time with your colleagues, so I just feel that just facilitates those kind of connections, yeah, for
yes,
most cases, yeah. So
yes.
okay.
The second episode that really did really well as also was the one where we talked about the toxicity of hierarchy in medicine. Many
Hmm.
people just see you as a doctor and that's it, but they don't know that there is hierarchy in medicine, just like the military as well. You're a soldier,
Yeah.
nobody knows your rank. So in medicine, there are hierarchies and there are protocols, there are rituals, there are traditions, there are things that just go on in
Hmm.
medicine. All wild, it's everywhere. But for our own medicine,
Hmm.
it can be toxic sometimes. Nigerians will always go overboard. So yeah, we talked about that, and that really did get a lot of feedback from the listeners. Yeah, those are the
Right.
two standout episodes.
Okay. I want to ask you, you're in medicine, you've been doing storytelling since you were in school. I know you're part of the Catholic editorial team,
Yeah.
also your faculty, the medical school editorial team. I've been seeing a lot of your work. And why did you feel medicine was not enough for you, that you had to do storytelling? And I don't know if this is the right way to put it. It became an outlet for you. Storytelling became something you were just doing on the side, and you were getting more involved and you were getting more creative. And how did that come about?
Okay, to start with, I think I've always been a storyteller, even before medicine was in the picture. Right
Mm,
from my secondary school days, I loved writing. In my school, we we didn't do English language. English language was split into comprehension, composition, and what do they call it, grammar. So I enjoyed composition because once composition teacher is in class, I get to be creative. I get to write stories, write letters. I just enjoyed like writing. I didn't even know I was a storyteller. I just know I
mm,
liked crafting words. And then when I got into uni at first, I was not always in medicine. I started with biochemistry. So even while I was in uni, I joined editorial team in church. So we published some things weekly, short stories
mm,
and all of that. Then I just loved crafting words. I did spoken words. I was always talking. Saying, I liked telling my lived experience, right? So when I got into medicine was just there. I mean, I love medicine. I still do love medicine. But medicine does not really allow you be as expressive. Everything has a protocol. Everything has an order. You do this
mm,
before you do this, before you do that. Even up till your exams and whatnot, everything is structured.
mm,
So if you get to tell stories, you're free. You can't tell me what to write on my paper. So I feel
mm.
really boundless when I put my experience into storytelling. So that's why I took. I've always been with storytelling. It's not like medicine was not enough. It's just been part of me. I've always told stories. Yeah.
Okay. From the very foundation, why medicine? You said you just mentioned you were in biochemistry.
Biochemistry. Yeah.
Yes, and you don't know if you went back to write jam and you wanted medicine. What influenced that decision? Why have you always wanted to become a medical doctor?
Honestly, when I was much younger, I saw people who adored medicine. My Yes, my relatives, close relatives, my older cousin, my siblings, people really just wanted to get into medicine. I mean, I knew people who were either studying medicine or wanted to get into medicine. So it was perceived as something really excellent,
Hmm.
right? And I like to associate with excellence. Hello. So when I got into senior secondary school, yeah, when I was in SS1 in my school, they do some tests. First term of SS1, they will do further maths, they will do this, they do that. So based on your grades, they get to split you into the sciences or the arts, even
Yeah.
though you can eventually decamp.
Mhm.
But they will tell you this is what we think you're good at.
Yeah.
And I did really great at the sciences. We just posted the list. I was in SS second term, SS1A, this, that. I'm like, hello, we're here. I felt like it was cool. And on the other hand, I felt like if you didn't want to go for a professional arts career, I think
Mm.
you could pretty much do anything else with even by being a science student, you could pretty much do anything else. You could join the debate club. I was in debate. I did some debates in school, even
Mm.
though I was in sciences and whatnot. But then if you were in the arts, you can't really come and do physics
Mm.
quiz. So I just felt like being in sciences was great. And the best thing I could go with was medicine because it was cool to do it. So here I am.
And when you were in medical school, because you just mentioned that what was perceived around you as medicine was an excellent career.
Mhm.
While you were in medical school, what did that perception become reality for you, or how did you now see the medicine? Now you are in there, you are not seeing it from afar. So,
Oh my
what was your
gosh.
experience like in medical school?
Honestly, it was like, so I'm finally here.
If I can chip in this, I have had a lot of doctors on this show, and they've talked at one point they wanted to pull out. I don't know if it's a
I
common
promise you. There's nobody, I don't know anybody in this world as a doctor that did not think of leaving. Medicine consumes you. Like you wake. I know there were days when I would wake up, especially there's a particular level, maybe you've heard about it, the year where we get to do pathology and pharmacology. That year, it's literally holding your neck. There was a time I would wake up every day. I'm not even joking. In retrospect, I think I was depressed. Every day I wake up, I would spend like 30 minutes on my bed just looking at the ceiling and asking myself, do I really have to stand up today? Do I really have to go? Do I really have to do this? I can just stop. Medicine is very, very stressful, physically and mentally. And I can't even say which is worse. I always thought you just had to be smart, book smart to study medicine. I think that's the least of requirements. It's the least, because I know many smart people who did not make it out of medicine, not because they are not smart, but you need to build that resilience mentally, like psychologically too, and physically, because some people fall sick when they study this, they fall sick because the pressure is it's just so much. I can't believe human beings do medicine. I can't believe it. I feel like it's not a job meant for humans. It's too stressful. But it's very rewarding. Very, very rewarding. It's very fulfilling to see that your knowledge is being applied to save someone's life. It's so fulfilling. And I think if besides the mental fulfillment, I think if the remuneration, especially in my country, if the remuneration was proportional, it won't be such a bad idea to do it. It's still not a bad idea to do it. It's really great to do medicine, but yeah, it's deeper than face value.
How were you able to manage all this? You are involved in sports, I remember. You participated in, is it noise?
NIMSA games.
NIMSA games, yes, thank you.
Faculty games.
Yeah, you were doing the track events and all.
Yeah.
So how were you able to manage your time, and how did you get into sports? How did you think that you could run for your faculty, for your school?
Yeah. Honestly, I how I got into sports was that I come from a family where we used to watch sports. We used to be excited to watch football, Olympics, and whatnot. And then I know my dad did tell me he ran when he was in secondary school or whatnot. So the school I graduated from, I was not always in that school. When I first got into the school, I was in GS2, and it was time for inter-house sport. They just put me in yellow house. My teacher, our house master, wasn't my person, my teacher though. He just arranged all of us by gender, like all the girls come here, all the boys come here, and put us on your mark, said go 100 meters, and everybody ran. And I ran, and I came second.
Okay.
And he was like, okay, you're going to run. Prior to that, I always thought I was slow at running. Although I used to compete with my siblings, my brother especially, and he would always beat me. He was older as a boy, he was strong, but I didn't even know that I could run. So that was how I first started running. And after secondary school, I got into uni. When I was in biochemistry, I didn't even think of sports. I never even entered sports complex once throughout. And then when I was in medicine, I realized that medicine, UNIBEN Medical School, I give them that. They're very serious about anything they decide to do. Even with sports, they're so good. They threw out announcements. Every level had a sports rep, a sports captain, and they wanted people to enlist. And I'm like, okay, let's do this. I'm going to run. And then that was how I started running. And even while at it, I realized that I could run more than the people who came. I run a race, I come third. I run a race, I come second. And then that was how I kept doing it. I just show up for practice, do what I can do, and then I find out that I'm doing well, and I go for it. That's just it. Then for time management, honestly, I think that there's no hard and fast rule for time management. Everybody should understand what works for them and do it. But for me, I realized that I learned to hyper focus in UNIBEN, learned to hyper focus in med school. If there's a sports event coming up in like 3 weeks from now, you see me going to sports complex every evening. It's as if I don't have academics, which is bad. But I will hyper focus on the next thing, the immediate next thing so much that I do it as though the others do not exist. So when it's time for, although in med school you can't crash read, so while I'm doing this hyper focus on sports, I'm just scratching my books little by little. But yeah, I think hyper focus was what I did. I can't really say. Some things suffered at some point when I'm preparing for maybe an event, because I was very active in FECAMS. When we're preparing for an event in FECAMS, maybe an academic seminar, a conference, stuff, I forget about other things and I hyper focus on that one. And people be like, "Oh, you're not showing up." I'm like, you know what? Please, after next 2 weeks, you see me. And then that was how I just hyper focused at every point in time, making sure that I prioritized things. So as long as my education is not at stake, I'll hyper focus on whatever I'm doing at the moment. And that's how I went through it.
Okay. Let's talk about, I've forgotten the title of the book or the article about Hall 2. I know
it was a memoir.
Oh, okay. It was a memoir about
Hall 2 memoirs.
Yeah. I think I read it then. This was more than 5 years ago.
2019, 7 years ago. It was around May 7. Yeah, it was around May.
Yeah, it was interesting. I read it, interesting, but what was in my head was, why did Omo feel that we needed to know what was going in there? Why did she want to tell the world what was going in there? So why did you wanted that to go out?
Like I said, I've always loved telling stories, especially my lived experience. I feel like people don't know what's going on in Hall 2. As a UNIBEN alumni, if they ask you what's in Hall 2, what do you think of?
I know what's going on outside. The love gutter outside. I don't know what's going on in there.
Love gutter there. People talk about short put.
Yeah.
the nylons are all over the barbed wires, right? Yeah. So yeah, I think that it was chaotic living in Hall 2.
Okay, let's know what was going on in there.
Yes, like it was just a world of, coming out from school. I went to boarding school. Coming out from boarding school that is quite regulated. I'm going to Hall 2, even though there are portals, but everything just happens. One moment you're resting, next moment they are shouting in block B. They're shouting. The next moment you see that they caught one man. They say the man slipped into the hostel. And the next moment you're walking to your room and you see somebody, someone taking a shit on a bucket by the side of you. Like, what's going on here? So it was really, really chaotic. And I felt like it's going to be very funny if people actually knew what we're doing in Hall 2 day by day. And I think to be fair, it is a memoir, but it's kind of fictional. It's a mix of my own experiences and whatever else was happening there. I just felt like it was a cool thing to talk about, to tell people, and people really received it well. People received it well. Infused a little bit of friendships and love life, and want to know to just humor. I also believe in reading things just to relax. So Hall 2 memoir was something I pictured people would read to have a good laugh and to relax with. That's why I put it out there.
And when you moved out of there, I believe you went to Medical Hostel. Did you miss Hall 2? Did you? Was there anything that you said, I wish I was in Hall 2?
I don't miss the trenches.
That's a good one.
But then let me tell you the only thing I missed. I missed the proximity to my friends, because when I was in 100 level, I made friends with people from biochemistry, from linguistics, really great friends. Yes. So if you were not seeing them every other day, maybe in church or in any other outside association, moving to clinical hostel when I became a clinical student just kind of separates you from the rest of your friends. So you have to make conscious effort to see them. As opposed to when you're in Hall 2, you can just jump one flyover and go to block B, room 105, and you see your friend and you come back to your room. That's what I missed, actually.
Yeah, and do you think that seclusion when you're in clinical stay doesn't really help friendships? You're a medical student, you want to relate with other people. You are going out to the society where you're not going to be with just doctors, you're going to be with everybody. And now you are being secluded in medical stay. Some students from year 1 might be able to get into clinical stay, and they are there till they graduate. Anyway, yes, or they spend most of their time there. But do you think that doesn't really help relationships?
For me, I'm glad that I was not always a medical student. When I was in BCH, I used to see it as though these people are very segregated and whatnot. They don't even know what's going on outside, which, to be fair, it happens that way. But the structure of clinical hostel is that when you climb up higher, like in med school, your lectures, your everything you do is in UBTH. So in some schools where they're teaching hospitals, actually far away from the main university. Clinical hostel is actually inside the hospital. So
Okay.
it's you get to spend like the first 3 to 4 years of your life mingling with other people actually.
Okay.
Mind you, when you get into clinical school, when you get into clinical classes, chances are that your own guys, like the people you grew up with in UNIBEN, have gone. Maybe because of my personality, I actually enjoyed. Yes, maybe because of my personality, I actually enjoyed the fact that we were in clinical hostel because our battles are different, our timelines are different. When you're on holidays, I'm studying. When you are partying, I have a test, I have an exam. Our calendar is not usually the same as the entire school's calendar. So I think in clinical school, when you go to clinical hostel, it actually even helps you better academically and whatnot. Just helps you stay sane and focused, because whatever Gbedu you wanted to experience, you've experienced in the last 4 to 5 years with your guys. So now the people who are now in school are really gap years apart from you. So there's really not so much you want to pick up from there. That's what I think. That's my own perception of it.
Fair. Lastly, this is a quite a regular question I ask on this show. What UNIBEN taught you? What you learned from the institution? You have your MBBS from there. Outside your MBBS, outside the certificate, what are those values? What are those attributes the institution taught you or gave to you?
I'm trying not to say something cliche because I know many people would have said so many things that in my head, but I think what I would say is that UNIBEN taught me that excellence can coexist with chaos. Yeah, we all know that UNIBEN is everything is happening in UNIBEN. There's the fact that you are hustling for hostel space. There's the fact that you have a project to work on. So many things are going on. But one thing I noticed about UNIBEN is that UNIBEN's products eventually are excellent. And if you apply yourself well being in UNIBEN, you'll be a very excellent person. That's what what UNIBEN taught me. And UNIBEN also taught me to take human relationships very seriously. I met a lot of amazing people in UNIBEN. My closest friends, my souvenirs from med school. Then I met you in UNIBEN. Hello. And then I have really great people that are doing really amazing things that were formed in UNIBEN. So if you keep that relationship, UNIBEN will help you just be an excellent person. Pretty much so. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Omonigho. It has been wonderful speaking with you. Good to see you once again. Yeah.
Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you very much. We've come to the end of the show, of this episode. Actually, I've been speaking with Dr. Omonigho Iyomon. She's a medical doctor and a storyteller. Continue to subscribe to our channel. We'll bring you more exclusive interviews of UNIBEN alumni. Bye.